Now, you may have wanted the perfect Christmas. No burnt turkey, no unwanted presents, no mugs with a D on, no arguments with your other half, but all that pressure and all that time together is a recipe for disaster. In fact, it may just spell the end for some couples, which is why today is D-Day, when family solicitors are at their busiest with inquiries about divorce. But should all couples seek marriage mediation before they come to this drastic decision of splitting, Nadia?
Oh, I mean, Mark and I went to couples counselling and it was brilliant. And, you know, there's the marriage guidance counsellor, so you don't have to pay for it. I would definitely say it's so worth it.
Would you say it saved your marriage?
Yeah. I mean, extraordinary things do happen when you go to a couples counsellor. I mean, it is... I mean, of course, you go in and go, oh, this is going to be good. Oh, they're going to tell him how terrible he is and how everything he does is wrong. And then you realise, oh, crikey, it's going to be very awkward. It can be really uncomfortable. And I tell you what, getting in that car afterwards sometimes was just awful. The awkwardness, because you know you can't go near, you mustn't go back into what you've just spoken about, and it's really, really hard. I mean, I think the main thing that it taught us, and I think this happens with a lot of couples, is that you stop listening to each other. Yeah. Because you go in there thinking they're going to help you how to say things to each other. Actually, they teach you to listen. Because we get to the point, don't we think we know everything. Yeah. So we will start talking about something that you love, you know, and you're carrying on doing whatever you do. And actually, we don't do that in any of our other relationships. We listen to our children, we listen to our friends, we listen to our family, but it's so easy to get into that pattern of not listening to your partner, and we just weren't listening properly to each other.
So, Nadia, when you first went in, like, you obviously, do you sit there together? There's a counsellor.
Yeah.
And how do you kick it off?
Well,
how do you kick it off?
Well, they just...
We do all the talking, don't we?
Yeah,
so the counsellor just listens.
It's really hard because they don't say anything. They just sit and then they wait and then somebody speaks, because it's interesting what comes up first is usually what you know. And I think it was around Mark's insecurities that came up, and I was just like, and then we just went straight into it. So I don't know, because you went as well.
Me and Mark went. Yeah, we were having a bad patch a few years ago. Well, quite a few years ago. The kids were quite young then, and we went to marriage guidance, and it's just someone that's not a family member, so someone that's not on either of our sides. They're there to listen to both of our points of view. And I was the same. You go in thinking it's all his fault, and actually, when you listen to both sides of it, it's not. It's a bit of both of you. Yeah. And as you said, we don't listen to each other. We're so busy concentrating on what we think's wrong in the marriage, and that's what I think is really, really hard. Is that sometimes people just walk away from marriage. They have a big argument or something, something bad happens, and they walk away. It's so easy to get divorced when actually it's so much better just to talk.
Yeah. Takes work. Did you do that thing? I don't know whether your one did this, where they say, right, go home and have a stopwatch and have 3 to 5 minutes where each one of you talks, and you're not allowed to interrupt them.
No.
They could just talk about anything.
And
a passion of theirs, or a dream of theirs, or how angry they are with you about something, and you've got to just sit there and listen. It was the longest 5 minutes of my life. I was chewing on the table by the end of it, but it made me realise.
He was doing the same for you.
I hadn't been. If I can't listen for 5 minutes without wanting to scrub the floor or put a chicken in the oven or something, so we distract from our partner.
And I think what's interesting is both of you have said that you went in thinking, right, she's going to let him know that it's all his fault and take my side and all this sort of stuff. I think many couples go into counselling not prepared to take on board that actually part of it is my fault. You know, they will think that they'll see what a misery he is or she is or whatever. And I think most of the sad cases when couples split up is that carries on. You know, if they do come to a decision where they end up getting divorced, still can't take on board that actually part of it could be down to me, could be down to my behaviour.
Because what you just said there is, if everybody is going in that thinking that, what's underneath that is everybody wants to be heard. They want to be validated. Everyone wants their feelings validated, and we lose that when we're in a couple, don't we? We go, no, that's not the way you feel. This is the way I'm feeling this. Whereas it teaches you to say, OK, let me hear what you're saying about the way you feel. It just teaches a really clever way to do it. Go, OK, now can I tell you the way I feel? And those simple little keys.
But most people don't have a conversation listening to what the other person's saying. What they're doing is waiting for the other person to stop talking so they can say what they're not actually... And I agree with you. Therapy is not about talking. is about listening to
Yeah.
each other.
Do you feel like they gave you tools then? Like, so now, obviously, you had yours ages ago, you had yours ages ago. Do you feel now when you get into that situation, you go, oh, he's not put the toothpaste back in the thing? Do you go, right, calm down? Do you remember what they told you to do in those situations?
Yeah, you sort of do, don't you? And most of the
Not
time...
always. I can still totally fly off the handle, whereas I might have flown off the handle 10 times, I would now only 6 times. And then, I mean, I don't know if it's the same with you, we'd say, we know where this is going to end. Why don't what are we not
stop it
hearing?
before it starts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For more Loose Women action, click here. And I'd subscribe if I were you. It's totally free and it means you'll be kept up to date with new videos and exclusive YouTube content.